Hello everyone, my name is Dio Dennata Rizky and I'm going to present our presentation about literary work analysis, How to Become a Writer by Lorrie Moore. Our group members are Dio Dennata Rizky, Mikhael Parlindungan Hutasoit, and Rian Ahmad Ghulaman Zakia. First, we talked about plot and setting. Francie began writing in Mr. Middle School class. Killian, after several failed attempts to write a various type of poetry, Francie instead wrote a short story. She gave it up as a Mr. Killian final project. Mr. Killian tells Francie that she does not have Mr. Killian tells Francie that she does not understand the plot of a critic that may appear repeatedly in the narrative. In college, she majored in psychology but accidentally attended an imaginative writing class on the first day and decided to stay there. Francie's tale of criticism is unpleasant. She gave up hope. The author of this fall professor emphasized the power of imagination. The professor asked her to write down his personal experiences. She has to write off what happened to her. In 3 years, there were three things. She lost her virginity, her parents divorced, and her brother returned from the jungle 10 miles from the Cambodian border with only half a tithe. Her mother visits Francie's house. Francie tells all the things that happened to her mother who disagree with her decision. How she left the psychology department to become a writer. Francie reassures her mother. She ended up writing again. Next, the stage of plot. Exposition. In high school, Francie was able to write sonnets and experiment with fiction. She wrote a short story and gave it to Mr. Killian as a final project. When she got his work back, the response she got was not that good. It is the first disappointing result she got. Mr. Killian wrote that he had a no-sense plot. Directing action, she left her psychology college to pursue creative writing. The inner turmoil she was experiencing made her uncertain about the decision to write creatively. She was under pressure from psychology teachers, parents, and friends to continue her psychology course. The climax, with losing weight and pounding heart, she kept wrote her work. She has lost many things in 3 years, such as her virginity, her parents divorced, and her brother came home from a forest 10 miles from the Cambodian border with only half a tithe, a permanent smirk nestled into one corner of his mouth. Francie has a new room where there are pain and sadness. Next, the falling action. Francie battled anxiety by thinking she was going to be okay. She continues to write about events that occur by those around him, such as friends and boyfriends. Francie learns that writers are open texts, helpless without a real understanding of what they have written, and must therefore have believed anything and everything that is said about them. The resolution. Francie then worked on a writing novel about the intimate personal confession she heard throughout the day. Soon, she broke up with her boyfriend and found a new one. She also succeeded in convincing her mother of the path she took, namely becoming a writer. Next, the characters. Francie is a hard worker, confident, strong, determination, and imaginative. It mentioned in the story that she was never giving up to become a writer. In the story, Francie got many scorns. For example, from Mr. Killian. She got scorn from Mr. Killian. He said that she has no sense of the plot. She also has a strong determination by always convincing her mother that she would become a writer. Next, Francie's mother. She was strict, taking everything seriously, and selfish. Her mother was never supporting her child to become a writer. Next, her roommate. Her roommate was supportive and humorous. She once have suggested Francie to write a comedy because she likes comedy. Next, narrative perspective. Lorrie Moore's How to Become a Writer is narrated in the first person view by a character named Francie. Stories are told in the style of self-help columns aimed at people who want to become writers, but the story's content is actually very personal. She explained every problem in her story in detail, like Francie wants a good babysitter, then went to college. At first, she found it hard to write a story, especially the plot, but she kept writing anyway and realized that become a writer is her fate. Next, the topic discussion will be explained by Mikhael.
Thank you, Dio. My name is Mikhael Parlindungan Hutasoit, and now I will explain about topic discussion. Based on the short story How to Become a Writer by Lorrie Moore, our group will analyze the topic how Francie can adapt to writing study that isn't her major. We will discuss several subtopics as follows. First, creative study was her destiny. Second, mismatch in psychology, the desire to write. First, creative study was her destiny. You've heard of this. After a short excruciating while, raise your hand and say diffidently, "Excuse me, isn't this bird watching 101?" The class stops, turns to look at you. They seem to all have one face giant and blank as a vandalized clock. Someone with a beard booms out, "No, this is creative writing." Say, "All right," as if perhaps you knew all along. Look down at your schedule. Wonder how the hell you ended up here. The computer apparently has made an error. You start to get up to leave and then don't. The lines at the register this week are huge. Perhaps you should stick with this mistake. From the quotation, we think Francie thought that creative writing was her destiny. Francie, who is a psychology student at the university, doesn't realize that she has entered writing class on the first day. She was confused about how she could be in such a class when where the students were discussing something like metaphor. She realized that the creative writing class she was taking at the time was a technical computer error. Francie could have dropped out of the class because it was not her major, but she continued to attend the class until the end. Despite complaining, Francie seemed interested in what was discussed in that class. The line outside for the class was very long, and she began to think that the class was an opportunity that was not a coincidence. Her thing is even more determined to survive this mistake. Maybe your creative writing isn't so bad. Maybe it's fate. Maybe this is what your dad meant when he said this is the computer age. Francie, this is the computer age. Decide that you love college life. In your dorm, you meet a lot of good people. Some are smarter than you, and some you have noticed are more foolish than you. Unfortunately, you will continue to see the world in these terms for the rest of your life. From the second passage, we can see that Francie has confidence that being a creative writer is her destiny. She can accept this because of her abilities, and the things she has done are not that bad. She felt that this was determined from the start. It crossed her father's message that made her think this was a different era. Francie must be able to see something broader, such as steps he took to become a writer. Francie will see the good and the bad of that. She must be able to accept and like it. We can say that he had settled into her decision by thinking about seeing the world in terms of his lifetime. Thus, Francie can adapt to accept her destiny. This is the kind of thing that happened to Francie, who is poured into his writing. We can see that Francie fulfills her work immensely through little experiences that she experienced. By believing that writing is her destiny and way of life, she can tell simple and real things to her work. We can see that the background and the little jokes of his girlfriend inspired her. She believes that no matter how small the things that go through that can be written as good and original material. Second, mismatch in psychology. Your child psychology advisor tell you are neglecting courses in your major. What you spend the most time on should be what you are majoring in. Say yes, you understand. On days when it is your turn, you look at the class hopefully as they score your mimeographs for a plot. They look back up at you, drag deeply, and then smile in a sweet sort of way. You spend too much time slouch and demoralize your boyfriend, such as bicycling. Your roommate suggests a new boyfriend. You're said to be self mutilating and losing weight, but you continue writing. For the first quotation, Francie was taking child psychology advisor, and she was ignoring the course. She should take a major that she has spent the most time on. In this case, she should take a writing major, not a psychology major. Furthermore, when she was in the class, she doesn't have a spirit or passion for the psychology material in the class. Instead, she was spend her time to slouch and demoralize in the class. Because of that, she becomes self-mutilating and losing weight. If she takes a writing major, she could be paying attention to the major. Your mother will shake her head and say, Francie, Francie, remember when you were going to be a child psychology major? Say, Mom, I like to write. She will say, Sure, you like to write. Of course, sure, you like to write. Write a story about confused music student and title it. Scoobert was the one with the glasses, right? It is not a big hit. Although your roommate likes the part where the two violinists accidentally blow themselves up in a recital room. I went out with violinist once, she says, snapping her gum. Thank God you are taking other courses. But the main one will be this. You decide not to go to law school after all, and instead you spend a good big chunk of your adult life telling people how you decide not to go to law school after all. Somehow you end up writing again. Francie's mother tells a story about when Frances wants to go to college. She wants to take a psychology major while she likes to write. The decision was not in accordance with her passions. For example, she writes a story with the title Scoobert was the one with the glasses. Her roommates likes the story. She likes the part where the two violinists accidentally blow themselves up in a reticle room. To write a story that has a unique plot requires deep talent or knowledge. In this story, Francie has a passion for writing stories. Assuming that she majored in writing at university, she will be able to write even more great stories, even though it has a scary them. As mentioned above, two violinists blow themselves up in a recital room. It indicates that Francie has a passion for writing. Besides, she decided not to go to law school and ended up writing again. Indeed, her talent was to be a writer. She could not resist that talent. Whatever activity or class she does or takes, she will end up writing again. Okay, for the next subtopic will be explained by my partner Ryan.
Thank you, Mikhael. Now this is my turn to explain the desire to write. You have only those brief, fragile, untested moments of exhilaration when you know you are a genius. Understand what you must do. Switching mayor. The kids in your nursery project will be disappointed, but you have a calling, an urge, a delusion, unfortunate habit. You have, as your mother would say, fallen in with a bad crop. Why write? Where does writing come from? There are questions to ask yourself. They are like, where does the dust come from? Or why there is a war? Or if there is a God, then why is my brother now crippled? The writing professor this fall is stressing the power of imagination, which means he doesn't want long description story about your camping trip last July. He wants you to start a realistic context, but then to alter it, like recombinant DNA. He wants you to let your imagination sail, to let it grow big, bathed in the wine. In this post criticism, we know that Francis now began to wonder. She have a delusion that her fate is become a writer. She do everything like sacrifice, turning mayor from psychology studies to writing study, even though it's not her choice in the first place. She become really want to continue the writing study because this delusion and this feeling that she really call her. And the second quotation that say the writing professor this for is stressing the power of imagination. This is one of her golden ticket to begin to write again, to give it all her can to write again. This is a really good good what is it? Really a good chance to begin to write because the professor really want her to work all her imagination like whatever she wants to write, whatever like not like just like camping trip, no, not like whatever she wants because this is one of her her change. And the last one is conclusion. Okay, from this story, from the Francis experience, we can take a lesson that success requires a struggle and sacrifice. This is one of lesson that we can learn from this story because we know that Francis sacrificed her psychology lessons to take writing study, right? And even though her mother doesn't allow her to continue, he just keep it anyway. Second one is Francie went through a complicated adolescence. Although in the beginning of her writing skills were messy, she continued to commit herself to pursuing her writing and left psychology study behind. The last one, nevertheless, being writer is not easy as it seems because you need to be different, unique, and there is no shortcut to write a great story. You need to learn step by step. From this conclusion, we know that Francie did her best to become a writer, even though his beginning, her beginning writing is such a mess. She doesn't even can write a plot. Um, and now she have a delusion that saying that writing is her fate, writing is her destiny to take. She have decided to left psychology study behind and commit to continue her writing skill. And she realized that become writer is not an easy step to take. Should writing a story step by step, day by day. It's like practice every day, and she's struggle and sacrifice anything that she have. And she continued to write when the professor give her an assignment to write her imagination, whatever she said. And that is a great step for her to continue and to believe in herself again to become a writer, even it's a different path, even it's a different path from her mother dream that she should to be a lawyer or a psychology child. She take a risk to become a writer because she really think and she sure that writing is her destiny and writing is her fate to take. Okay, that's all from our presentation. Thank you, everyone. I hope you all understand about what we discussed about our presentation. Um, my apology if there's many mistake in our presentation. Good day and stay safe, everyone.